What do you mean, there's no plan, but it will happen just the same? Yes, I know that. Then I have no sympathy for you, or for your kind. Leave now, and never come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be good.
Water was added to our water. With water came dirt. This is our home. This is Luhanga, my wife. It wasn't long ago that we met. We've been living here since then. And this is Resha. She is my wife as well. They only met recently too. With time they will learn to get along. Why am I visiting these other shells? Because this is Lavua's house. She is also my wife. I'm expanding my home so that she can move in with us soon. And this is Fulway. Goodbye, Fulway. I know there's dirt all around, but we're making it better day by day. There's Kala. She and her husband built that big pit over there. Many different people live around here, but we always manage to sort out any problems. There's plenty of space around, you don't need to get so close. Some people just don't get subtlety. Fulway just moved in and he made that shell his home. He looks like he'll be a good neighbor. That's if he learns to keep his distance. He's still working to make his home more to his taste. Many people pass by this area. Most of these homeless people can't be trusted. I visit Lavua from time to time. Unfortunately, there's not enough room for her in my house. Yet. She must be patient and wait until I uncover a few more shells.
You like one?
Me, I did 3, now I divorced 2, I just married with 1.
Yeah, only one.
I did 3. That's why I have a lot of children. Then, from those 3, I divorced 2, I married with 1. I'm still with 1 now. I was learning. Now I've gone through, I've seen 1 is better. It's too expensive to look after them. At the first, was very well together. Now they start quarrel. The best thing, the best thing to have more wives, it gives a time to have children, many children as you want. Then, because for the one wife, she takes time to have maybe 5, takes years. I think it's a good idea to choose a number of children you want to have. Then you stop.
Want to stay with one. Yeah.
She was trying to stop me. Now I challenge her about that. No, you can't stop me. You can't stop me. I'm still looking after you both. So no need of you stopping me. Someone's jealous that why is he marrying? I think he's got a lot of money. That's why he's marrying. They do talking behind you that why that guy got a lot of wife. He thought he's got a lot of money. I heard just sometimes back there used to be a chief who should have a lot of wives. A chief. An old woman that had 2 wives, 2 husbands. Why? Nowhere you can find a woman to have 2 husbands. Maybe in secret, no one knows. Yes.
This is Kalambo. He lives in that pit with Kala. They were already here when I arrived. They're good neighbors. We have a few issues with them, but at least they make sure the strangers passing by don't stay for long. There goes Fullway. He was probably around visiting one of his lady friends. I also enjoy visiting my wife's shells, if you know what I mean. Speaking of shells, we love shells, as you can see. You can never have too many shells, but shells that still move around must go. Get down! A false alarm. Now this is a bad person. And there goes Fullway. Again. I think he has an exaggerated idea about his own size. In a few days, I will have uncovered a few more shells, and then there will be no reason why Lavua can't move in. Don't throw dirt at Lavua's face, Luanga. That's just plain rude. Lavua has every right to be upset. Unfortunately, Luanga doesn't agree with the idea of having more ladies living here with us. It will be much better for the children when they come. Mothers are like shells. You can never have too many. The individual having a small argument with Kala is Kasai. He's just arrived in the neighborhood, and he seems to be a quiet person. But I suspect he has a dark side. Colombo, on the other hand, is a real nuisance. We have to stop whatever we're doing whenever he arrives. He isn't a bad person, just way too big and clumsy. Yes, Lavoie, you'll be living with me soon. Be patient.
At first I had two. Now I'm remaining with only one. On one hand, it is better to have one, and on the other hand, it is better to have two. Here, traditionally, many people have got two wives. It's just traditional. Just traditional, yes. And the reason is you may have one wife, but maybe she's not lenient to you, she's cheek, what and what. Now, it's better you marry another one. If you marry another one there too, now that cheekness, she stops. Yeah. You find maybe you've got family. Now, that wife, if she's one, she doesn't want your family to come to your house. Now, for that reason, you can marry another one so that people are coming to your house. They come to eat, they come to look for help. Yeah, I divorced her. She was not good to my family. She was not good to my family. I had separate houses. Yeah, separate houses. Very much jealousy of his friend, of her friend. At first, they don't get together. They come to be together after some time. Yeah, after some time, you put them down. No, please, you should be understanding with each other. Just like that, yeah. So they do that. Yeah. They don't agree. We just force them. We just force them. They don't agree. Yeah. You just tell them to sit down. Now you control the situation. Yeah. What happened? Who did wrong? Yeah. Because the first wife should be, they want to be respected. Yeah. The second one, like if you buy something, maybe okay, you can maybe you buy food, you should take to the first wife. Then the first wife is the one to share that food to her friend. Yeah. Like ourselves, we black people, we say our wealth is children. Because if I have 10 children, those children, when I get old, they will come and help me. They will keep me, feed me, whatever. Now, if I have one wife, okay, it's better I have maybe, for one wife, I have maybe 6, 7 to one wife. Another wife, just like that, 5, 6, 7, to make maybe 15, 10, 15, 12, just like that. Some time back, parents were choosing for us. They just negotiate with his friend. Oh, I've got a baby. I've got my daughter, and you've got your son. So it's better that your son marries my daughter. Then they just come and tell you, oh, in that house there is one daughter. We have engaged her for you. And you don't have to refuse. Yeah. But these days, it doesn't happen usually.
These algae are a real pest. They're so hard to get rid of. I know that there's a lot of dirt around us, but it doesn't mean that we like it. We work very hard to make sure that at least our home is kept clean. There are many different ways to lead your life here in the Great Lake. Fulwe's life, for example, seems to have no hints of joy. I saw that, Kasai! You're a child predator. Leave other people's children alone. You are very lucky that neither Kala nor Kalambo saw you. Kala and Kalambo do their best to watch over their children, but they leave home too early. They're nice people in their own way. It's just a shame they don't respect other people's homes. They are always coming over. With so many tufts of algae all around, why does he have to come and munch on ours? Does he want to help? Is that it? There are more of their kind nearby, but only Kala and Kalambo come over. Kasai is pushing his luck, trying to ambush their children right next to their pit. I think that everybody around here knows what he does. No one wants him around. Kala and Kalambo also have problems with people of their own kind. Fulwe and Kasai are sometimes caught in the crossfire. Stop bickering, you two. I'm trying to work here. This is why, after all has been said and done, it's good to have Kala and Kalambo around. They stop mischievous individuals like Kasai from doing whatever they want, but he's very sneaky. I'm starting to feel sorry for Fulwe. He gets caught in the crossfire. Stop that right now, Lohanga. Russia has done nothing to you. You two, go right back to your houses now. There are other families around, but Kalambo seems to have a special preference for us, unfortunately. The Emperor's sons, hide! Kala and Kalambo are powerless against them. Any children in their path are never to be seen again. The young Emperor's parents themselves must be nearby. That was close. Lavu is safe too. much longer will Fullway put up with being Columbo's punching bag? I don't think he even noticed that, Fullway. Kala is a completely different story. I'm with Fullway on this one. I also hate to see them messing around my house. If Fullway wants to continue to live here and be close to his lady friends, he should learn to avoid confrontations with them. But I guess it's not his nature. And the same goes for Kasai. Kala really wants him to go away. But why? What has he done to her children? I am starting to feel dizzy. She would do better to let him stay. He is good at keeping intruders away. I guess they have their reasons for wanting us around instead of Fullway. Columbo doesn't mean to cause problems. He's just a dirty brute. Kasai is pushing his luck again. Poor Fullway is always caught in the middle. I shouldn't be so distracted by all these things. There's a lot of work still to be done. This is one of the problems with dirt. It causes itching. Why are you so jealous, Luhanga? Luvu is a good girl. We need her here. That love bite on Kala wasn't enough. Columbo has to show her that he can protect the family from dangerous individuals like Fullway, of all the people. Kala and Columbo have told Kasai countless times to get out of here. But that creep just doesn't give up. Have I mentioned that I think Columbo is a really dirty person? What's your problem with me being away from home for a moment, Columbo? Are you afraid I may leave? In spite of everything, I'd rather put up with Columbo than have that vicious Kasai around. Motuwana are even more of a nuisance than Kalambo.
Ndoli Bay, Lake Tanganyika. Lake Tanganyika is an oddity within the freshwater world. Ndoli Bay is an oddity within that oddity. Approximately 40 million years ago, as the African tectonic plate began to split, a few great valleys appeared in the east of the continent. Some of them ended up filling with water, creating several large lakes. Lake Tanganyika is part of the Great Rift Valley, which also includes Lake Malawi and Lake Victoria. It is one of the oldest lakes in the world. While most lakes on Earth only last for several thousands of years, Lake Tanganyika's age is dated between 9 and 12 million years old. Normally, sediment accumulates in a lake until it becomes completely filled. But the splitting of the African tectonic plate causes Lake Tanganyika to expand downward. So while sediment deposition also occurs in Tanganyika, it's balanced by the constant deepening of the lake. Most lakes on Earth dried out or were covered with ice at one time or another. However, this did not happen to Lake Tanganyika. Its size and location prevented such sudden and dramatic changes. This meant that evolution had a few million years to continuously develop adaptations to the different habitats that the lake provided. The succession of adaptations in this stable environment led to the increasingly specialized life forms that are still found today. The lakes located in the more temperate regions have huge fluctuations in climatic conditions. This results in a much lower diversity of fish species in comparison with the huge diversity found in the lakes of the Great Rift. In a changing environment, it is an advantage to be a generalist, so you can easily adapt to whatever changes come your way. On the other hand, in a stable environment, if you specialize in exploring a specific niche habitat, you have a competitive edge over all others that can't use that area as well as you do. The temperature and chemical makeup of Lake Tanganyika are also remarkably stable, even taking into account its size. It seems that the volcanic activity below the lake is also responsible for keeping the temperature quite even between the surface and the bottom. So, unlike the ocean and most other lakes, there isn't much vertical water movement. This prevents oxygen from reaching the deeper parts of the lake and confines the fish to the upper layer of water. And it's here that over 200 endemic cichlid species lead their lives. Many more are still expected to be found. Most of Lake Tanganyika's shoreline is surrounded by mountains and therefore is not accessible by land. This helps to keep part of the lake shore almost untouched. Cichlids are the largest family of fish. their ancestors evolved in the ocean, and that makes them more tolerant of highly mineralized waters, as is the case in Lake Tanganyika. They are incredibly intelligent fish when it comes to behavioral sophistication. It's not easy to find a bad parent in Lake Tanganyika, and some species have strong family and social bonds.
I'm still here. Colombo's here. Fulway's here too. He looks a bit lost. This could have been just another day. Resha's here. Luhanga's here. Luvua's shell is empty. Yes, Luhanga, I know, you want me in your shell, but I'm not in the mood. Luvua is not here. She's gone. I don't understand. Did she find someone else that has more shells than me? Maybe she went back to her family. She was very ungrateful. What's that in front of her shell? Oh no! Oh no! Luvua! Luvua! This is such a merciless and dangerous world. So many mouths wanting to swallow us whole or break our bodies into pieces. There's always someone lurking around waiting for an opportunity to end our lives for whatever reason. There are also others willing to protect us, but we can't count on them all the time. Luvua is gone. I can only hope it stops here. Kala and Colombo can't be everywhere all the time. Sometimes the intruders are far too many. They are a real danger to everyone's children and even to ourselves. Fulway is one of the bravest people I know. It is good to have him around, and I hope he stays for a long time. At a proper distance. But there's something bothering him. He looks very confused. I wonder if he also lost one of his ladies. Stay around, but not so close. Not so close! Kala and Colombo shouldn't be so rough with him. You see, they fear that big people may harm their children. But I guess Fulway is just a bit too big and bold for their taste. It's clear that he's not feeling well. Anyway, that's his problem. Kala and Kalambo are a nuisance, but there are much worse people around. Their children are starting to explore their surroundings and they try to keep an eye on them. They are proud parents. So will we be one day.
Ndoli Bay is in fact part of Cameron Bay. Here, at the distance of just a few tens of meters, the habitats change drastically, and a different set of species has evolved to adapt to it. Right in front of the beach, there's an habitat based on large broken plates of rock and sand. To the east, right after the large rock plates, starts a vast plain of sand. Further east, as the depth increases, the lake floor starts to change again. The sand gives place to silt and shells. At the north edge of the beach, the two harbors themselves have turned into tiny habitats, each with their own set of species. Just north of the harbors, the shoreline is filled with reeds and small boulders. Reeds also follow the shore to the south. But here there are no boulders, and the reeds grow their roots among a thick layer of silt. Sometimes the adaptation of some species goes so far that it makes it almost impossible for a fish to survive outside a tiny area. This turns these habitats into highlands, in which evolution follows its course in isolation from other similar habitats, sometimes just tens of meters away. That's one of the reasons why there are over 200 endemic cichlid species in Lake Tanganyika. 200 endemic species are surely enough to make Lake Tanganyika one of the natural wonders of the world. But it doesn't stop there. Each of these species has multiple known variants scattered through the lake. At least hundreds of variants are still waiting to be discovered. The rock structures in front of the beach are very unusual. They almost look like reef formations. These three reef-like rock structures ran parallel to the whole beach and are separated by just a few meters of strands of sand. This is a shallow area with a considerable amount of water movement. Cichlids are known as being aggressive fish, but for this reason, aggression is somewhat diluted here, because most fish have to swim and focus in keeping themselves stable incessantly. The large amount of fish that populate the rocks and sand are also a factor that helps the fish to live a more peaceful life when compared with the surrounding areas. More individuals around you means that you can only give a little amount of attention to each of them. Although at first glance their movement appears random, there is some order underneath this apparent chaos. That order comes mainly from one thing: territory. Most cichlids need territories in which they find protection, feed, mate, or rear their young. If nothing dramatic happens, most of them will stay there all their lives. Different species have different requirements concerning territories. The smaller species are happy with just a crevice, mainly for protection. Others need a considerable area filled with rocks to graze upon. Some need a small patch of sand to build their nests. Nevertheless, there aren't many species that risk living their earliest stages of life in this area. The constant coming and going of adult fish of all sizes and forms from all directions makes the survival of the tiny fry improbable, unless they are protected.
It seems that Fulway is in a better mood now. Not so close, Fulway. Get inside. Thanks for showing them the way out, Fulway. But keep your distance. Don't let yourself be fooled by their stupid faces. These are really dangerous people. I generally enjoy cleaning up the house. These algae are really a plague. Fulway lacks clear objectives in his life. It's not good to have so much time on one's fins. Colombo constantly chases them away, but they still come. Leave it, Fulway. What are you looking at, Bwana? Yes, Luhanga is inside this shell, so what? Don't look at me like that, Bwana. I'm not a coward. It's just that they are closer to Fulway's home. You're still too young, Resha. But one of these days, we will enter your shell together too. In the meantime, let's get your houses nice and clean. If I want to make Luhanga and Resha happy, I just have to show up and work a little in their houses. But it's something I'm happy to do. And now maybe there's an extra reason to work on Luhanga's house.
Variabilichromis muri is one of the few species that risks living their first weeks of life here. It's one of the most successful species in Lake Tanganyika, and they can be found wherever there are rocks. Even in areas that have been devastated by heavy fishing, when most other species have disappeared, you can still find a few Variabilichromis here and there. They adopt the most classic rearing method used by cichlids around the world. They lay their eggs on a rock or small cave, and both parents fiercely protect their young from the hungry mouths around them. Most of their neighbors quickly learn to respect that, but not all. Some species specialize in capturing the young of other species, and many others won't discard an opportunity if it is presented to them. A moment's distraction by both parents or a fry that decides to explore a little outside its nest is all it takes. On top of that, there's also the dark of night. As time goes by, the batch of fry grows thinner. The fry remain white for a long time, thus blending more easily with their surroundings. Only when they reach adulthood, they acquire the deep black color that is the trademark of this species. There are fry of other species in this area, but they can't be seen anywhere. They are hidden inside their mother's mouths. Most species in this area don't form family bonds. In fact, the variably chromish are one of the few exceptions, and they are also monogamous, mating for life. Species such as the Ophthalmotilapias, Aulonocranus, and Callochromis inhabit this reef-like area. All the males of this species defend the territory and spend almost all their time within its boundaries, while the females wander through a much larger area that includes the territories of several males. Whenever a female passes through a male's territory, he will entice her in every way he can to stop for a while. Although that happens quite often, it seldom leads anywhere. Most of the times, the females just check the male and his territory for a few seconds and leave. When a female decides that that male is a suitable partner, she will lay a few eggs and immediately collect them in her mouth. The male dances in front of her and releases his milk. The fertilization of the eggs occurs in her mouth. The process repeats a few times until she has laid all her eggs, or decides that she wants to check out other males and have her fry fathered by more than one male. The size of the batch varies, but it's usually between 20 and 40 eggs. The male's part in the breeding process normally ends there. In the following days, the eggs develop and the fry grow inside the female's mouth for the next 3 to 4 weeks. This gives them a better chance of survival when it's time to get out and fend for themselves. This reef-like area is practically free from predators of adult fish, so I don't believe the females need to move to a more secluded area while holding their fry. The only truly large fish that live here are a few adult Oreochromish, and they are not predators of their neighbors. On the other hand, this area is so densely populated by adult fish of so many species that I am pretty sure that when it's time to release their young, they won't do it here. There are other areas nearby with more adequate refuge for their young in their first weeks outside their mother's mouth. But safe areas for fish of any kind are becoming more and more rare in Lake Tanganyika.
Okay, Craig, how's the lake?
How's the lake? So what do you want to talk about, the general status of Tanganyika?
Yes, first of all, we go into the water and then out of the water. So our things concerning the aquatic life in the lake nowadays. And I'm talking not only the fish as food, as also as fish as biodiversity.
Yeah, sure. Alright, well, obviously Tanganyika, being such a massive lake and a huge biodiversity, but it's also a massive food source for a lot of people. Lake Tanganyika is surrounded by 4 countries, some of which have got the highest population growth in the world, all putting a lot of pressure on the lake. So biodiversity-wise, the lake is still fairly secure. There are very few species that have been lost from Lake Tanganyika, but a large amount of biomass is being lost through fisheries and overfishing, basically. Another big concern is deforestation around the perimeter of the lake, which leads to sedimentation and all that kind of stuff, runoff of chemicals. Unfortunately, that's at the moment is restricted to the far north in Burundi with a large population, and far south of the lake. But there's still a large portion of the lake that are not too heavily populated, and the lake seems to be holding up pretty well so far.
And you said that there are 4 countries around the lake. Is there any coordination concerning policies about the management of the lake, or each country is on its own?
Well, every country has its own local laws and policies that it has to follow, that being mostly fisheries and also forestry control around the side of the lake. But over the last few years, there's been a collaboration through the UNDP, it's called the Lake Tanganyika Authority, and it's a multilateral agreement that all 4 countries have made over the management of Lake Tanganyika, of the whole basin, including the rivers that flow into the lake. So there is a framework for all the countries to work together. And there are laws in place that all 4 countries have to abide by. I'm not too sure, it's a little bit difficult. Some of those countries have got much bigger problems, the civil strife, the DRC, things like that. So, management of natural resources can sometimes take a second seat to the problems that they're facing. But there is a good structure in place and there is a good framework in place. The problem is getting all the countries to adhere to it and enforcing the rules that they have agreed to, really.
Because the enforcing of those rules is a massive operation.
Yeah, massive operation, huge costs involved, and the will to do it. I believe that there is some money available to all countries to do so, and they are obligated to do it. That is, talking of DRCs, of course, we're the poorest country in the world, so they don't have much financial ability to support large-scale monitoring and stuff like that today.
Is there any foreign money coming into those programs, or?
Yes, there is. It's largely funded by the UN and as well as the World Bank. Is putting a lot of money towards that. As I understand it, the participating countries, being Burundi, Tanzania, Zambia, and DRC, have to make a contribution as well to that fund.
Okay, so you say that the lake is hanging on pretty well. And in terms of biodiversity?
Right, Tanganyika is hugely famous for its biodiversity, one of the most biodiverse places in the world, it's a hot spot, even globally speaking. A large portion of that biodiversity comes from diversity of cichlids and then also a lot of invertebrates. For the most part, that biodiversity is mostly intact. We talk about aquatic life. Species that have been targeted for fisheries and stuff like that are fairly narrow in scope, and they're still there in fairly abundant numbers, although declining. But biodiversity-wise, it's fairly intact. Still very, very, very diverse.